The Knicks got a new coach. Now, this is why I was late on this video, honestly, because I was sitting here trying to figure out what were people's opinions on this, right? Not because it's going to influence my opinion on this, but I really wanted to see who really knows what's going on versus who's just talking basketball and trying to get content out there now that the season is over, because that is very important. A lot of people now that the season is over are going to just shove out content and not actually have an educational or an opinion that makes sense. But on this channel, I try to be as logical as possible, right? Now, obviously, there's some bias that comes into things. There's some opinions. Like, I do have fun with this sometimes. So, if you do like videos like that, do subscribe. But me personally, I think that this is a great change for the Knicks. I think Tom Thibodeau did a really great job with the Knicks. I think he took them to where he could have took them. I think this was a season where they overachieved. And I understand that everybody's sitting here thinking to themselves, what can you do to be a coach these days? What can you do to keep your job? What can you do to stay a coach with a team and keep pushing until you win a championship? Thibodeau just went to the conference finals with the Knicks team and had their best season in a very long time, in 25 years actually. And even his job wasn't secured. And the thing is, they've been wanting to fire Tom Thibodeau. They've been wanting to fire him before, I would say, like before the Celtics series or the beginning of the Celtics series. Now, they did end up winning. They beat the Celtics. They went to the conference finals and they lost to the Pacers. But even that went to like 6 games. Before the Thunder, they were the only team to take 2 games from the Pacers. Every other team got smoked. It was a 5-1, 4-1 nothing, ended in 5. So I do understand where everybody's concern is coming from. But at the same time, when you have players like a Jalen Brunson, Carl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, all right, the foundation is laid out. Tom Thibodeau did a really good job. Okay, on top of all that, the chemistry is there, continuity is there, everything is there now. All it takes is for a different voice. Maybe you'll get more out of them. Because what was our knock on the Knicks this whole time? The bench don't play. That was always a knock on the Knicks. Thibodeau always had this mindset, even before the Knicks, where he's not playing the bench. That's always been his biggest critique. Now, Mike Brown, from what I know, and y'all can correct me down in the comments below, feel free to. He hasn't been a head coach until he was a head coach of the Sacramento Kings in the last, I think, 3 years? So, knowing what he did with the Sacramento Kings, knowing that he did a good job, knowing that he took them to the playoffs and had a playoff berth in 16 years, which was a NBA record at the time. And then on top of that, they did really good. Honestly, like, yes, they did lose to Steph Curry, and I think they lost in the first round at that. But they did a good job. They just ran into Steph Curry, and he had a phenomenal game 7. Like, what can you do? He put up 50 points. He scored a whole bunch of points, and it's Steph Curry, man. What are you gonna do? But coming to New York, and the conference is wide open now. The Celtics just blew up the whole team. Tatum is down. Damian Lillard is no longer on the Bucks. He's down. Giannis, you don't know what he's gonna do with this team right here. They don't have an official guard yet. They do have guards, but it's not like, that name. Maybe one of these guys make a name for themselves this year. But as the roster constructed right now, they don't have that. Halliburton is down. Miles Turner is gone. So the East is wide open. Anybody could come out of the East right now. Who is the contenders right now from the East? The Knicks? The Hawks might finally get a chance again. The Sixers might come back. The Bucks might be, a contending team. Like, honestly, who is coming out of the East? This is the Knicks' chance to make it to the NBA Finals. Would they have been able to do it with Tom Thibodeau? Maybe not, because Jalen Brunson being the primary ball handler and all that type of stuff is coming to an end. Everybody's figured that out. That type of style does not win. We've seen it so many times. That type of style of dribbling, the ball for 18 seconds, 20 seconds, and then getting a play in the last 4 seconds is done. It's gone. It's out of here. Mike Brown might come with something new. And on top of that, he's going to play the bench more than Thibodeau. Defense will still be a number one priority. So what would they do with Karl-Anthony Towns? I'm not entirely sure with that. Because Karl-Anthony Towns, after the season, everybody's complaining about his defense. Knowing who he is when they traded for him. Knowing that he has not played a lick of defense his entire career. Knowing that he's pure offense. Knowing that he cannot slide his feet on the perimeter. They waited till the season ended for everybody to make news and talk about him publicly about his defense. Did y'all not know what y'all traded for? So I really wonder how that's going to be with Mike Brown. But I will say offense might be better. And again, like I said, I don't think he's had a chance to coach as a head coach only with the Sacramento Kings. And even when he went to Sacramento, there was already a roster in place that had a system. And if I'm not mistaken, he started in the middle of the season. So he had to basically stick with the same program. But now he gets to start with this team from before summer camp, before training camp. He gets to work with them. He gets to plan stuff with them. He gets to introduce himself to each one of them individually and as a whole unit. He gets to, come up with plays and figure out how to have plays where basically utilize some of his wings more. Maybe have Bridges bring the ball up a couple more times. Maybe have, I don't know, if Josh Hart, who was doing that in the conference finals, maybe have some of that implemented into the offensive scheme and plans and plays this season. That might be a thing. It can be possible. Jalen Brunson might, play off the ball a little bit more. Cat might get a lot more touches, a lot more shots. We might see a different Karl-Anthony Towns. There's a lot of things that can happen now with him because this is his second team, a whole different roster. You had Fox before who ran. It was one of the fastest players in the league. And now you have Jalen Brunson, who is the clutchest player in the league, but I wouldn't say he's the fastest player in the league. We have great perimeter defenders individually. How are you going to utilize them in the ways that, Thibodeau couldn't utilize them? There's so many stats of Bridges being bad when him and Anunoby are on the floor at the same time. Anunoby being bad when him and Bridges are on the same floor at the same time. But when they're both on the floor at separate times individually, they were playing amazing, lights out, defensively and offensively. So how are you going to do this as the brand new coach of the New York Knicks? Now, you have to understand the expectation. Knicks fans are delusional. We think that because we made it to the conference finals, and then with the East being wide open, we think we should make it to the NBA Finals this year. Possibly even win a championship, depending on who comes out of the West. But we think we should make it to the NBA Finals this year. And I do have to admit, as a member of New York, the state of New York, I was not always a Knicks fan. And not because I wasn't wanting to be a Knicks fan or I was trying to be cool and different, but because I really had nothing to root for. So I was trying to hide that side from me. I didn't want to fall into that trap that everybody else fell in. So I just became a fan of a player instead of a team. I was a fan of Devin Booker. Not the whole Knicks team. Or not the whole Suns team. I didn't want to pick a team. But my favorite player is Devin Booker. But then they got rid of Julius Randle. And I always said, once the Knicks get rid of Julius Randle, they'll be a great team. And then that's when I'll be able to be a fan of the Knicks. And once that happened, I became a fan of the Knicks. Now I show it more. I mean, to be honest, I hated the Pacers the whole playoff run, especially after the Knicks. The finals series, I hated the Pacers. I was praying their downfall. I was predicting that they will win, but in the back of my mind, I was really praying that they lose. I hated the Pacers, man. I still do. And I'm glad that that team broke apart. I hate that Halliburton went down with the injury, but I'm so happy that Miles Turner left. Now, for the Knicks, like I said, everybody's going to have to figure it out. It's a brand new start. But fortunately, it's not going to start from zero. It's going to start back from like 75%. Like I said, the players know each other. The system is pretty much there. You just have to figure out how to implement more pieces, more people, more plays, and just tweak it. That's it. But the layout, everything's there. The foundation is there. Bad news out. Thanks so much for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. This is Real Talk with E. Safe.